From stars who used to mix vodka with coffee as if it was cream, and the legend who was buried with a bottle of Jack Daniels, Hollywood has its fair share of alcohol-loving population. To kick the list off, we have Michael Landon, America's TV dad from Bonanza and Little House on the Prairie. The man would drink water like anyone else, right? Well, yes, but sometimes no. Landon put whiskey in his coffee and vodka in the rest of his beverages. He was more or less a moving cocktail. Not even after shooting would he go home because the night was still young and the drink was still flowing. Melissa Gilbert, his co-star, said she had no clue that her TV dad was such a secret drinker. Imagine going through your childhood and adolescence watching this man on television explaining how to live, only to learn that he's a closet alcoholic. This is what they call a plot twist. Landon's addiction was a hidden vice that he kept from the cast and crew. He would sneak to the kitchen every morning, pour whiskey in his coffee, and vodka in every other drink. He took to the local bars after a tiring day at the set. The popular prim and proper character Charles Ingalls drinking whiskey and getting drunk at a bar is hardly digestible. He also consumed 4 packs of unfiltered cigarettes a day, which is said to have led to pancreatic cancer, claiming his life at 54. Up next is our man Robert Shaw, who is known for playing the role of Quint from Jaws. And as if a monster in Jaws or working alongside Spielberg didn't stress him out enough, Shaw chose to bring scotch into the mix. His drinking on the set was notorious and stirred more problems than the shark did in the movie. Co-star Richard Dreyfuss once had enough of Shaw's drinking and threw a glass of his bourbon overboard. Interestingly, Shaw hosed him down in retaliation. Shaw was usually intoxicated while filming drunk moments. For scenes in which his character was intended to be under the influence of alcohol, he employed actual alcoholism. Talk about method acting. However, this drinking problem affected his and others' working relations, particularly with Dreyfuss, who liked the actor to be sober while working. Just picture shooting with an intoxicated actor who's your on-screen buddy in a struggle against a man-eating shark. Adds flavor to the movie, at least. Next, we have Peter O'Toole, who was famous for his blue eyes and red nose, most likely due to alcoholism. In the film Lawrence of Arabia, he and his co-star Omar Sharif, who both despise camels in real life, were drunk before a camel raid sequence. Talk about liquid courage. O'Toole said he could not even remember shooting some of the scenes in the movie and was more occupied with changing water into wine. O'Toole's drinking was not simple alcoholism, but a fuel that he used in his line of work. This man was quoted as saying that alcohol made him perform well, and during the famous scenes of the camel raid, both he and Sharif were altogether too drunk to be afraid of camels. Filming was a great scene, extremely drunk and with no recollection of it. O'Toole's drinking tales are famous, but they also highlight the lengths actors will go to deliver a memorable performance. Next up, we have Frank Sinatra, who should have been a brand ambassador for Jack Daniels because he had so much love for it. Sinatra was certainly particular about the ratio of ice, Jack, and water to be included in his drink. People claim that he consumed a bottle of whiskey a day. Many people testify to his charisma, but on rare occasions, he would get furious after some gin. The man's ex-wife used to lock herself in a room because of his gin-induced verbal wrath. He used to get meaner, she said. Sinatra was even buried with a half-empty bottle of Jack Daniels. This is what you call taking my way to the extreme. His ex-wife was aware that gin changed his personality, and his friends discovered that it was safer to avoid him when he shifted to that kind of liquor. However, this notorious image of Sinatra did not affect the success of his career, thus illustrating that one could always have their cake and eat it too. Next on the list is the iconic Leonard Nimoy, who played Mr. Spock in the Star Trek series. He had a problem with alcohol consumption during the shooting of the series. William Shatner, Nimoy's co-star, stated that Nimoy used to drink to cope with the long shooting days. After the series, Nimoy had to get professional assistance and admitted himself into a rehabilitation center. While he was able to overcome his drinking problem, he could never quit smoking, contributing to his death at the age of 83. Nimoy and his alcoholism was an issue that, unlike the character he played, was a secret struggle for him. Lengthy shooting schedules and the stress involved pushed him to alcohol. However, Nimoy was not a passive subject of substance dependency like many. He tried to turn the situation for the better. He went through a rehab course and fought against the evil within him. This is a lesson that every one of us should learn as people. It's in the face of weakness that strength becomes the most important. Next up, Richard Burton. This actor with an impressive baritone voice and passion for vodka used to drink up to 2 to 3 bottles of it daily. Once he promised a director that he wouldn't drink for that film, and he hardly drank 2 bottles of vodka a day. That's commitment. Despite his alcoholism, Burton could give incredible performances, such as in Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? Yet, alcohol affected his body negatively, and he developed cirrhosis and kidney disease. He died while still very young at the age of 58. Indeed, Burton had every reason to be labeled a hardcore alcoholic. He once said that inasmuch as he was concerned he was sober if he consumed 2 bottles of vodka. Only after exceeding the 2-bottle mark would he consider himself drunk. His drinking was a problem that caused him distress, but also a strength that propelled him to be the best at what he did. Burton's performances were powerful and memorable even though he fought alcoholism most of the time. He played in the film Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, and his performance was so realistic that he was nominated for an Oscar. However, the scenes were not very pleasant as his health was in bad state, and the constant indulgence in alcohol finally got the better of him. Moving on to our next celebrity, alcoholism and painkiller addictions are not uncommon problems. Elizabeth Taylor, the beautiful movie star, knows it. In 1983, she set a record of being the first star to check herself into the Betty Ford Center willingly. The act of courage to fight her addiction played a huge role in making this not as shameful as it used to be, and many people copied her action by seeking help. After she recovered, Taylor actively participated in AIDS campaigns because her good friend Rock Hudson had died of AIDS. She became the face for advertising, research, and treatment. Taylor had a public battle with her addiction, but she fought it. She came to rehab willingly and fearlessly, putting out an example and encouraging other patients to come to rehab as well. Her work for AIDS awareness after recovery proved that she was a ray of light even during her worst days. Taylor's story shows that even a star can stumble and get back up. To end the list, one of Hollywood's most successful stars, Cary Grant, makes an appearance. He had a quirky way of dealing with his addiction. When he discovered he had a problem, his doctor began treating him with LSD. Yes, LSD, the psychedelic drug. Interestingly, it was a method of treatment that was not uncommon back in the day, an expression of experimental medicine that flourished during the 1950s. Grant received approximately 100 sessions and claimed that he discovered balance and meaning in life through them. The life that Grant was living after the therapy sessions was full and well, a far cry from the life he once led, which was torture for him. Although the approach was unorthodox, it worked for him, and he died after a good life at the age of 82. We appreciate you watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.